Welcome back, everybody, to Parkitect. In this episode, we are going to be working on not Golden Gulch. We already completed Golden Gulch. That's our Planet Coaster series that we completed a couple weeks back. We're actually going to be working on Coaster Canyon in Gold Gulch here. So this is going to be a super fun episode today, guys. So the description here says, a barren desert canyon with an ample land available for construction provides a perfect spot for a new tourist attraction. A giant cliffside hypercoaster is the first step in the soon-to-be roller coaster paradise. So we already have a hypercoaster there, so that should make it at least a little bit easier to make money. So we got to make at least 6 coasters here with an excitement rating of at least 50 or above. And then we have to have 550 guests in the park, which should be no problem with 6 coasters. Have an optional, so this is optional goals, have at least 700 guests, so that one might be a little bit of a stretch there. And complete all the non-optional goals by August of year 2. So we'll shoot for this. It seems reasonable, as long as we can make the coasters in enough time. So as we load in here, we'll see what we got going. Alright, so our nice hypercoaster that we'll actually get a ride on really quick before we start. Has a nice mining theme to it here. I really like that. That might be our trophy, maybe. That could be a pretty cool trophy, I would say. So we come over here. This is running 1 train? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, it's running 2 trains. That's still really bad for... I mean, it's not that bad. We're going to hop on it really quick and see what the coaster's like. We might have to do some editing to it just to get it to 3 trains, because 2 trains is not that good, but it is a long train. You never know. It depends. Maybe our coasters will be better and more popular. So, here, let's get rid of that stuff there so we just get the experience here. I don't know. I don't know if this counts as one of our coasters. I think it should. I'll check in once we get into our time lapse. I'll probably check it out and see if we actually have to make another coaster. That would be a total of 7 though. So that might be a little bit of a challenge if we have to use 6 more after this one. But it should be a good income with a huge drop and turns up over the cliffside. That's really cool. And yeah, it goes up on top. That's really cool. And then it'll dive back down in. So there are some really slow parts though, which, I mean, that might be why it's not able to run 3, because it would be kind of another slow part to have another block break in here. But you never know. So yeah, it goes back up on top again. It wastes a lot of speed going back up there. We probably won't be doing much of that with our coasters here unless the lift hill's taking it up there. But yeah. Yeah, this is a really long coaster though. It has some good speed to it in some places, but then in other places it doesn't, and it takes up a lot of space too. It comes all the way out here. Oh, we do have a flat ride though. I've never seen that flat ride before. So okay, we'll check that out in right now since we're at the end of the coaster layout here. I've never seen this. What is this called? Orbiter. Okay, so it seems like a pretty good ride, I guess. It's open. Why is nobody in here? Where's the park entrance at? Oh, they're all the way down here. Wow. Okay, so that's a really far walk here. So we're definitely going to make a coaster straight away right here. And we have over here as well. So there will probably be a coaster right here. We'll make an entrance coaster here. And then we'll probably definitely... maybe we'll do like a racing coaster. Let's actually see what we have for rides. We have a carousel, car ride, Ferris wheel, gentle monorail, teacup, and wave swinger. It's a lot of gentle rides. Just an Enterprise, and then we have the Orbiter already. And so we'll definitely place that Enterprise in there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 coasters types here. We already used the steel coaster, so I might try and stay away from that. We'll make a mine train. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Dang it. Okay, well, we'll fix that later. We'll definitely make a mine train. Maybe that will be our first attraction, or it'll be like maybe right here, and it'll go into this mountain here, because we do have all this area back here as well. So maybe we'll do that. Junior coaster or mini coaster. Maybe the Wild Mouse can go at the front. We're gonna utilize all of these, so a mini coaster as well. Maybe go up here. We're definitely gonna get researching on. We'll let it research a thrill ride, and then we'll get some more coasters maybe. We have an elevator ride and a log flume as well. So we got a lot of rides to start off with, about 20,000 to start off with as well. So let's get into this park. Alright, so before we can start on any type of coaster, we need to get a little bit of a foundation here. So we're going to put in an Enterprise ride because that is a really high throw ride, and they usually can bring in a lot of people and money-wise. And we're also going to put in a Wave Swinger because that is kind of a high-level calm ride, I guess you could say. So that's hopefully that'll be more attention-drawing because a lot of the calm rides don't get that much of attention. Then we can actually go into our first roller coaster, and what do we need in a Western themed park? Obviously, we need a mine train coaster. So that's what we're going to put in first, and hopefully later on, our research will allow us to get a wooden coaster, because that also fits into this theme very well. So that's what we're making right now anyway, is a mine train coaster. So it comes out of the station, goes over the path, and we're going to do a little bit of pathing work later on, and it's not going to look like that. But basically it's going to do a little bit of bunny hops, and then it's going to go turn into a lift hill. And I tried to make this like theming wise, it would be like going up a mine shaft, and then it's basically going to go to the top of this cliff, and it's going to interact with this cliffside the whole time. It's going to be coming in and out and doing a bunch of tunnels and stuff, a bunch of helixes, huge helixes, and then this way back to the station is all ejector airtime. It has crazy ejector airtime on the back because it is going really fast. We had to put a mid-course brake run in there just so we could slow the train down. And this is actually going to have really good operations, I guess. Well, just really good capacity because the trains have like 9 cars on them. But that's kind of typical for a mine train. And I made this queue way too long, as you see here. And something that we're gonna kind of not do in this part of the time lapse is some scenery. We will get like about half of it done, and then we're gonna get into some debt. And you might know why, and that reason would pretty much be that coasters are really expensive, and I guess we weren't making enough money, and I didn't really. I said I learned this in the last episode with Orchard Acres, but I guess I really didn't because I moved way too fast again, and I guess what happened is I couldn't recuperate any of the money yet, so that's where we're currently at, and we'll look at that a little bit more in the mid-course, as well as riding this mine train coaster and the other coasters that are to come. So this is just kind of looking at the operations, and also some cosmetical stuff, because the tunnels are really ugly, so I only want them where they are needed. So I did a bunch of terrain, which also didn't really help with my money situation here. And we're also going to be doing a little bit of a main street right here. And the buildings will come in a little later as well, because I kind of went into what the guests were thinking, and they said it was not immersive and all that stuff. So, and they also needed drinks and food and all that. So we're having a nice little village here, I guess, little western town there. And then that's kind of like the entrance plaza. And then it'll go into rides as you go farther back. And the plan is, like, actually, the amount of coasters that I have at the end of this time lapse is surprising for the amount of space it takes up. Like, we're only going to go about halfway back the map, I guess you could say, and we still have that island that I was talking about, and we still have that huge plot of land at the very back. So now, after we place down a Ferris wheel and a bunch of those shops, it is time to go to our second, well actually it'd be our third, but our second coaster that we're making, which is going to be the so trusty Wild Mouse coaster. Now, there was a big problem that I had with this coaster. Basically, I had to get that excitement level of 50 or above, and Wild Mouse coasters don't tend to be that exciting, I guess. I was so close. I was actually really mad about it because I had a 49.9 excitement rating. I believe that's what it was, and then I had to go back and change it because I thought the layout was really good. And you can see that like really big ejector airtime hill there, and I thought like that's gonna be awesome. But I guess it needed a little bit more oomph to it. So we're gonna have to go back and change that, and you'll see that here in a little while once I kind of check our stats where we're at, make sure we're good with everything. And here actually we are down a lot of money. We're at $166. Well, we just went down a lot more, but that's where we are at currently, and that's really low. We have 2 coasters in there and a good amount of flat rides. Well, we have 3, but 3 coasters, I'm saying, and 3 flat rides. And that Enterprise, as I said, it's always trusty. Got that huge line there, and it's like $7 per person, and that's probably one of my best sources of income, but it's not making enough to to provide me with the amount of money I need. So we're gonna use a loan later on, and we're gonna put in another coaster along with a bunch of scenery. And that scenery, we just took that loan. Well, we're about to anyway. And that scenery is gonna pretty much encompass the front village area. We're gonna do the I think we're gonna do the mine train station as well, and a couple of queue covers. So as I said, the queue cover for the Enterprise is getting done there. We're going to be doing the front village. We also had to put in a staff building because this park is going to have a lot of staff most likely since it's super big, and I really like being able to incorporate it into the depot, having those pieces available to me instead of locked or not like researched. So that's what I use there, and we're going to kind of keep the same theme there. I came up with a fence that I really liked for the scenario. It's a half wall of this like cobblestone, I guess, or stone, and then on top of that is some iron fence. So I really like how that turned out. And this is me now noticing that we actually have to add to our Wild Mouse coaster. So we're adding a couple of bunny hills, and an extra block section as well. And we're gonna spend a good amount of time just watching it. Well, I did anyway. I might have cut that out, but basically I spent a long time watching it to make sure that it was functioning right and how I needed it to function. So now we're kind of working on this village once and for all now. This is the food stall. We got a roof on it. We're making a little pergola area, I guess, a little pavilion, and in there there'll be some seats and stuff and some fences because there's actually going to be a coaster back there as well. So if you remember in the intro I said we were going to make probably a Wild Mouse and a mini coaster over here. Well, that's going to happen. We're going to put a junior coaster back in that back corner right there. And actually, sadly, when I was creating it, my computer almost died on me, so I had to stop the recording, and it kind of got cut off. So some of the coaster creation isn't in the time lapse, but we'll look at it in the mid-course as we always do. And we're gonna ride all three of the coasters that we created in this time lapse. So that's gonna include the mine train, the Wild Mouse, and that junior coaster. And this is actually me creating the station for this mine train, and I think this is probably one of the best stations that I've made looking wise, I guess, because I did a lot of like roofs and stuff that really made sense. And actually I didn't really use much borders in it, which was kind of surprising. Usually I'm one to use a lot of borders because I think that makes the building look a lot a lot cleaner, but I kind of just slacked them off there. And really the inspiration for this building was the building that I said in the beginning that might be our trophy, that little mining building, I guess, that's hanging off the side of the cliff. I thought that was going to be it, so I kind of went off of it, and on top of that, they're pretty close together in the park area, so I figured, you know what, we'll just go with it. And then we got these nice orange pillars here, really looks nice, and then we're putting on some fence here, just to kind of make it seem a little bit more safer, and more realistic as well. So we're going to do another queue cover for our Ferris wheel right here. This one's a little different as well. This one is actually going to have borders. The other buildings that we made don't. And I guess that's just because I forgot about them, but I really like how they turn out in the end anyway. So this is that one right here. It has a really nice pattern to it. I usually try and differentiate the queue covers that I do. This one, the Ferris wheel seems to always be the same, so I made this one a lot different, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Like, that pattern looks pretty cool. Now, this is just a little bit more kind of changing stuff. We did research a couple more intense rides, so we got a top spin, and that's going in right there. And this one won't have a queue cover yet. And we also have a topple tower, which seems to usually be a really reliable ride, so that might be going in a little later as well. So in the mid-course, we might have to take another loan because by the time we get there, we'll be in debt again. And that's mainly because of this coaster that we're making right here, our junior coaster, which is going to be the last of this part of the time lapse. Then we'll go into a mid-course, we'll ride all three coasters, and then we'll come back and we'll make our last two coasters that are needed to complete the scenario. It's been pretty easy. It's now gonna get a little bit harder because I'm running really low on money, so we're gonna have to take another loan probably because there's no way I'm gonna be able to recuperate enough money. But this is the layout. It's bound to change after this, but you guys will see that in a couple minutes time because we're gonna ride it anyway. Alright, so we are here in Coaster Canyon, and we have 3 new roller coasters to ride, so we're gonna try and hop on it right now. Actually, let's hop on this Wild Mouse here, because it's pretty close to us, and it's at the top of the lift hill, if we can get on the right one. I think, yeah, we're on the right one here, so let's get it to play, and we'll ride it. So, the block sections on this coaster are kinda sucky, I will say. I don't know why. I thought I decreased the amount of trains to where it wasn't, but I guess like thunderstorms and stuff kind of stopped that, and we might have just had one. But anyway, if you want to take a glance at our money while we're stopped on this block here, we are in the negative almost 500 here, so that's not good. But we are doing pretty well on money, I would say, for making 3 coasters in this scenario already. So yeah, it goes basically for this coaster anyway. We go through the hairpin turns, and then we do a big drop, 2 big drops, and then a big ejector air time, and then into more brakes. So now we can take a little bit more of a look here. I don't know why this coaster is not shut down. One, because we're in a thunderstorm. That might suck for riding the other ones. And also might suck for our money because, you know, we can't get any more coaster rides. So this part is not that intense here. I thought it was going to be. I think it's just this main bunny hill that gets me over 50 for this ride. So, yeah, let's take a look, make sure it's at 50. Excitement 42. Well, it was at 50. I don't know why it changed. Let me check here. I have 3 coasters. Maybe we do need a decrease. I don't know. It might not. Oh, and now we have bankruptcy. That's okay. We're gonna take a loan. So, let's close this. Let's go here. Wait. Here, yeah. And not there. It's not there. Down here, and we're gonna put 5 cars on this because that should actually change how that works. And actually, let's get on this one, which is just chesting. So yeah, mistakes are made, you know. And this one, this Wild Mouse and this coaster do not have stations on it yet. That's really just because, you know, our money situation. But hopefully we will be able to get it. And there's a tunnel there, which I'm going to fix later as well. Yeah, I got a lot of things to fix, it looks like. Yeah, basically big helixes and stuff. I really like how this junior coaster came out. It dives a little bit and we just lost it. Really nice. But anyway, it goes through a couple bunny hills and then goes back into the station. So that's what we got there. Enterprise is still our most popular ride by far, and our nice little building here is nice there. And then coming down here, we don't really have much to show for. We have these 2 rides here, nice queue cover. And as this one's leaving, let's please get on it. Yeah. So this is definitely the best coaster that I've made this scenario, I would say. Some nice slow bunny hills to start it off, and a hypercoaster roaring by. Now, the POV for this coaster might not be all that good because a lot of it is underground. So, and there's a hypercoaster again. So, I don't know if the POV will look that good, but I really like how this coaster came out in the end just because of how it interacts with like the mountainside and stuff like that. So we go all the way to the top, actually get smacked by a tree. Yeah, that's another problem. It's okay. It's Coaster Canyon. Anything goes in the Western outlaw life, you know. Anyway, so we kind of creep down this area here, go over that hill, and now we are gonna pick up a bunch of speed here, going through this helix here, huge helix going down. We're gonna hit a brake run, slow us down, and we're actually gonna stop there for a second, and then we're gonna come down a smaller helix. So anyway, that brake run was there just so we could get a third train on this, because I didn't know how long it was gonna take to traverse this track. And then we're going to actually be outside for the rest of this. So it's actually going to pick up a lot more speed now, and it's going to fly through these bunny hills here. And then we are into the brake run. So that's the Mine Train coaster for you. So that's all of everything that we really have to show here. Hopefully we can take care of this bankruptcy. And that's really all I have to show for right now. We still have all of this area though. So I will actually, let's show what rides we have. We have still a car ride, the General Monorail, Teacups, Carousel. We have a Topple Tower, which we'll probably try and fit in somewhere, probably like right here or something. And then new coasters that we have from the beginning. We have a powered coaster. What are you researching? and we're getting a turbine very soon. So that's another thrill ride that is hopefully really nice. So with all of that, we should be good to go to our next time lapse and hopefully finish out this scenario. Anyway, before we do that though, in terms of what I'm planning on doing with coasters, we'll probably put a powered coaster right here or something, and then, or maybe we'll do a steel coaster and it'll be like a launched coaster, which with a top hat or something. And then on this side, I really want to put like a nice wooden coaster over here, but I don't know because we don't have the wooden coaster currently. So we'll see what happens. So let's head to that second part of the time lapse. Alright, so we are just gonna pick off basically right where we left off. We finished our first time lapse with the junior coaster here, and that's where we're gonna pick up. We're gonna make our station for this junior coaster. It's a really simple one. It's just a really just a brown pitched roof basically, with some pillars going in, and it'll have a little bit of an overhang for the queue line to like where it enters the building there, and that's what we're gonna make right here. And then we're basically gonna work backwards. Instead of going from like this to a new project, we're actually gonna go from this back to our Wild Mouse coaster, and we're gonna make our queue for that, not queue, our station. We are gonna change the queue though. The queue is going to be needed to be extended because basically there's a lot of people in line. It's a pretty popular roller coaster, so we have to extend the line. But it might not just be because it's a pretty popular roller coaster, it might just be because the operations are really bad for it. But in doing so, we pretty much lost everybody in line, so it could have hindered our ability to make money for the moment, or the time being anyway. But that's pretty much it for this area, and then we're actually going to be moving on to the back of the park area. And the idea is, currently we have 4 coasters of the 6 coasters we need to pass this scenario. We have the Wild Mouse, the Junior Coaster, and the Mine Train, which are all 3 that we made, and then the coaster that was given to us, the 4th one, which is that hyper coaster back in the back. So we need 2 more, and that's what we're going to be doing in this time lapse. It's a little bit shorter, and that's really just because of these 2 that we have to make. But you can see our money is really low, so we're going to actually take another loan here, just so we can get this last stuff built. We are going to take a $10,000 loan, because that's the biggest that we can get right now, and we need it to be able to pass this. And actually, it's not enough money, so we're actually going to go into a struggle a little bit. So we're actually going to start focusing on some more flat rides here. We got a turbine, which is basically this ride that we're putting in right here. And it's gonna be helpful in our money situation, and we're actually gonna go back to a tactic that I used in Orchard Acres, which is in the end when we needed a little bit more money to be able to not go bankrupt. I deleted some of the rides and got the money back for them, so that's what we're gonna have to do a little bit later on. But for the coaster that I wanted to put in here, I was gonna put a launched coaster that would go into a top hat. But the problem was we did not have a hydraulic launched coaster unlocked or like researched, so instead, I tried to do it with the steel coaster that we had, but it wouldn't work. So I decided, let's go with a log flume instead, not knowing that what the result of that was going to be, which I'll tell you guys a little bit later. Basically, the log flume, it counts as a coaster. I did not know that, and I got the excitement rating over 50, and I looked at like the check-in on the goals, and it said we had 5 of the 6 coasters, but I only technically had 4 coasters. So I guess the game counts it as like a water coaster almost, which is actually really nice. Even though it did not bring in money like at all, it still got me to that point where I needed to be. So I'm actually really surprised by that, and it actually helped me. So if you guys need that one more coaster but you don't like any of your options, that's really the reason why I did put it in here, is because I was really waiting and hoping for a wooden coaster, and I didn't know what the monorail coaster was. That's the one that you unlock with the 700 guest mark, which is the optional goal. The monorail coaster is basically the single rail coaster in real life. I did not know that. But anyway, this we're gonna ride this since it is a log flume, and it did get us to our goals. So and the queue line is really long, so I did take that back a little bit. But other than that, this is one of our coasters, I guess. So yeah, that can help you guys out if you ever need it, I guess. Now we're just doing the station here. We're gonna do a little bit of border work, and we're gonna move on to this last part. Now, it's gonna be a hard cut basically, and we're gonna have a little bit of rides that we didn't have, which is gonna be the Tobble Tower, and we're actually gonna delete it, and we're gonna delete the top spin as well. That's just so we can get enough money. We're gonna work with a $3,000 budget and make this single rail coaster. Now, it's nowhere near the best single rail coaster in the world. It's actually probably the worst coaster in the world. It's probably worse than our Wild Mouse or Junior coaster. But basically, it's going to turn out of the station, go up its lift hill, and now we're actually under $2,000 here. But it's going to kind of do a normal single rail coaster layout here, which is going to dive down, and then it's going to go into an Immelman loop. And then the idea was, after that Immelman loop, it was going to do a little bunny hill and go into the station. But that did not bring in enough excitement. Basically, I'm just trying to get the excitement rating so I can get out of this park. Because I thought it was going to be a good one, like a fun one, but it actually was really difficult once you get to this money crisis. So we're just going to go into a huge helix instead, and then into a little pop of airtime, and then an S-bend into the station, and that is the layout. So we'll ride this, even though it's probably the worst coaster. And then we just had to wait for the results to come in with the people on it, and the really, really small queue line, just so we can save as much money as we could, because we're going to go into bankruptcy, and you'll see that when we go to our end portion here that we're going to talk about. And that queue line is nowhere near long enough, since it only runs one train with 4 cars. That's 4 people per cycle, which is really, really bad. So now we're just waiting for this stats to come in, and it'll be in 1 second. So after that comes in, we're going to get our confetti, sadly. And I've already seen the trophy, but you guys haven't, so I'll show it to you guys later, after this end portion that we're going into right now. Alright, so we are here in Coaster Canyon. This is pretty much what we did, besides our single rail coaster. This is what we have. We have our hypercoaster back here, which we already rode. We're gonna hop on this log flume here. I actually really like this station that we have, but it's pretty modern. It has glass in it. It's nothing too crazy though, and this layout is pretty boring. I would say it's a straight shot going past our ride next to it. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's an orbiter. And then the people in line there get a good view of this. And since it is kind of like a desert, it really does not have that much theming, actually. It's just able to go through without like theming, I guess. That's kind of the idea here. And then it's actually going to pass under the hypercoaster here. I didn't really get to talk in depth about the layout for this, since the creation of this had to be kind of masked over by what happened with our last coaster, and also that this does count towards one of the coasters. I didn't even think of that. There's that hypercoaster zooming by there as it turns around from the first lift hill to the second lift hill here to actually get some height on it. Now, I don't know like what the difference is between these excitement ratings. Like this one, I feel like the log flume would actually be probably the hardest to get a crazy excitement rating, but it does have 2 drops in it, 2 good sized drops, and I guess that really does help towards it. Now we're gonna dive down and get a good splash here, and use a pretty long like splash zone, I guess, and it's gonna turn and go up another lift hill. So this is the last lift hill to actually get it to the size that not to the size, but to the height of the station, so that we can get it back to the station in general. So it goes up this, and it's gonna go down 1 more drop and then turn around into the station here. You can see that the queue line is a little bit shorter, just a little from here, just a little bit at the top, and that's just because there's like nobody in line, even though we got on a pretty full log, which is kind of surprising. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of turn all the way back around to the station, and then we will be done on the log flume. And I'm gonna try and get this done as quick as possible, because I don't know if you guys did see, but we are in the bankruptcy. This is the second scenario in a row where we're about to finish in bankruptcy, which is really sad, because that means that I guess they're getting harder, and I don't really like that. But yeah, we're almost a quarter of the way there. So now we are gonna kind of walk back down. This is the Turbulon ride. I had to put a little restroom block here, and I did put a vending machine here as well, and I put a bridge here going to the other side. Now the original plan for this area before I ran into money restrictions, and this is before I got the monorail coaster. It was gonna be a wooden coaster back here, but that didn't really work. So I put a topple tower here. I was gonna put like a merry-go-round like right here, or a carousel, and then the single rail coaster was gonna go here, and the lift hill was gonna take you all the way back here, and the layout was gonna proceed to be the length back here, and it would go back down here and back, and then come into the brake run. It's going to be a super long layout. It's going to be able to run like 2 trains or 3 trains almost. So that was the original layout, but now we can hop on it with the 1 train, 4 car, 4 people operations here, and we can enjoy this super really short monorail coaster. So it basically turns around and goes up to the lift hill. It has a really good height for the lift hill. Basically, I just wanted to get the excitement rating that I needed to be able to get out of the park, because there was no way I was going to be able to make up enough money to actually build this. So it goes down the super steep drop into an Immelman, and then it's going to turn right into a helix, really intense, with a nice air pop, and then an S-bend right into the station. It has a full line, but even though we do have a full line, we're still in debt here, and there's nothing that we can do about that. So we are done with this scenario. Sadly, I did get the confetti already. I did that just because I wanted to make sure that this was going to hit its 50. And in doing so, we actually did hit our everything. And basically, when I exited out as well, instead of just trying to leave it up so I could get the reveal of the trophy, I got the reveal as well. So we can just exit, and hopefully it shows it again. No, okay. So the trophy here is this. I called it at the beginning of the episode. It's this little like mining side of the wall. Not side of the wall, but like side of the cliff building here. I don't really know what to call it. And we also got like this minecart system going here. And we got 2 scenarios from this. So we can go through this little tunnel here that goes up in here, and we'll get Kaiserberg. So this is like a snowy park here, and it has some goals, I guess, like 450 guests, no loan debts, and overall park rating of 75%. I feel like that's pretty similar to what we had earlier. And we also got Pagoda Valley, which is like a Japanese theme park, it looks like, from this image here. And this one has 500 guests, no loan debts. So this one is definitely a little bit harder than Kaiserberg. And then we have our Hickory Hill, which we got from last episode in Orchard Acres. So Hickory Hill we'll probably do next. It doesn't have, we just have to get an 80% experience rate and an 85% overall park rating. That might be a little hard, but we'll tackle that in the next episode. So hopefully you guys are ready for that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And until next time, peace.